David, you can do it. There are no limits. Brian Tracy. And it was a thrilling moment for me to have him write that to me after listening to my story. And I had another great experience with him, and I'm talking about Brian Tracy right now and the impact, some of the impact that he has had on my life. Let me actually read from the book what I said about Brian Tracy. I actually dedicated the chapter to him. Where's chapter 23? I forget what page it starts on. There's chapter 23. 21 great business and personal lessons I have learned in my, at that time, 38 years as a small business owner when I wrote this. I wrote this 2 years ago. It was published in 2011, January, and then in September, October 2011 last year is when I got my Quilly Award. I set as my subtitle, Brian Tracy, my greatest business mentor, didn't change my life. He just set me in the right direction, and I changed my life. Thank you, Brian. I presented this to him. One more thing I read about him. Brian Tracy. What can I say about Brian Tracy? As an individual, he has had more impact than anyone on my thinking. In many times on my personal life and almost always in my business thinking. He is my greatest business mentor and doesn't even know it. I got to pause for a moment here. I wrote this, as I said, 2 years ago. I wrote it in August of 2011. At that time, I hadn't really begun my major full-time study of Michael Gerber. Michael is the other mentor in my life, but I wanted to take that time to recognize Brian. We'll talk about Michael in another segment this morning and the impact he has had on my thinking and the potential impact he can have on your thinking, because his ideas are from a business perspective. Brian Tracy impacted me very, very directly from a personal perspective and from a big picture business perspective. The concepts, the ideas were big picture, very conceptual. And Michael Gerber, on the other hand, got closer to the heart of business and day-to-day business activity and long-term business thinking. I actually spent 2.5 days with Michael Gerber in his dream room, and I was very, very fortunate to be able to attend his last dream room. He had the one that we were attending was his 55th and his last as an individual. He has since mentored other individuals to teach his dreaming room thoughts, ideas, and approach. If I were not doing what I am doing right now and building David's Barter community, I probably would be doing Michael Gerber's In the Dreaming Room program. It was on a 2.5 day, the finest 2.5 days that I have ever spent in a business environment. Michael Gerber pulls no punches. He gets to the bottom line as quickly as anybody. And we'll talk about Michael and the 2 books that he has written had a great impact. But back to Brian. Brian Tracy communicates with clarity. I'm reading now from my chapter 23, page 205 in Business Strategies for Explosive Growth in the New Economy. Brian Tracy communicates with clarity and simplicity, and writes it better than anybody I have ever listened to or read. I say listen to because he also does a lot of tapes, CDs, and I've listened to at least 20 of his tapes. His concepts are really very simple. Read, learn from your reading, and then to react to what it is that you have learned from your reading. Strive to be the best at what you do. That's a wonderful path, a goal to take in life. But always keep in mind that in our life's journeys, there will be time when people's attitudes, other than your own, or their behaviors, will have to be addressed. That is not an overnight change. Behavioral changes take time. The final sentence I wrote about Brian Tracy, I read and reread Brian's The 100 Absolutely Unbreakable Laws of Business Success. And let's pull that out and share with you a few of the laws of business success. Here's Brian's book, The Absolutely Unbreakable Laws of Business Success, Brian Tracy, done in very appropriate in red, white, and blue, which he often does. A lot of his book covers, as I look around, are actually done in red, white, and blue color scheme. He, in this book, he breaks the laws down into Chapter 1, the laws of life, Chapter 2, the laws of success. There's 5 laws of life. There are 19 laws of success. He actually, I look real quickly here, 2 of his laws of success, 1 decision and 1 persistence. You've heard me talk about both of those, not from the perspective of Brian Tracy, but you've heard them from my perspective. Actually, yesterday, if you were listening at stickhem.com, I talked about decision-making and how important decision-making is. And if you are not a decision-maker, if you do not have the capability of making decisions, exploring as many options as you possibly can, studying those options, then making a decision on what is the best option for you and your business to move forward. If you're wishy-washy about decision-making, being an entrepreneur and starting a business is not a very good place for you to be. Entrepreneurs they know and they make decisions. They know how to, and they make decisions. Sometimes they need to be quick decisions. They need to be quick decisions when there is an opportunity presented to us, and there's some timeliness to that opportunity, and we must react quickly. Other times, we can take time to explore as many options as we can to find the best for us. But decision-making is ever so important. And if you are questioning your decision-making powers, starting a business is probably not a great place for you to be. He talks about the law of persistence in the law, under the big heading, the laws of success. You know my 3 Ps. You've heard them before. Passion. You have to have passion for what it is that you do, what it is that you want to share with other folks. There has to be the passion, and people have to feel that passion. Let's not just be there and talk about it, but people must feel the passion that you have. That passion that you have, that burning desire that you have, shows itself in the second P, the persistence. The persistence in which you take that message. You restate that message. You state it until folks truly understand what it is you're trying to say, what kind of value you're bringing to somebody's life or somebody's business. Persistence. So there's the passion, there's the persistence. But just a moment ago you heard me talk about patience, that we are asking people to, when we ask them to buy something from us or to do business with us, we're asking them to change a current behavior that they have because they're not doing business with us or they're not buying from us. We're asking them to change a behavior, and people do not change behaviors overnight. It takes constant persistence. It takes educating that individual of why they should do business with you. So I actually put persistence and decision into the laws of business and not necessarily the laws of success. No big deal. No big deal at all. The third chapter in Brian's book is the laws of business. Listen to these laws. Think about the ones we've already spoken about in the 330, something like that, YouTubes that we have done. The law of purpose, the law of organization, the law of customer satisfaction. And he separates the law of, Brian Tracy does, the law of satisfaction from the law of the customer. I create another customer concept. And we'll talk about this we've talked about it in the past, but we've dedicated an entire module to this law of customers, and that's customer touch points. You know, there's many, many times in the life of a customer that we can interact with that customer, touch that customer. I call them customer touch points. We forget that when we send a bill to a customer, that is a customer touch point. And the art of sending a bill and an invoice, it is indeed an art. It doesn't have to be cold and hard like most of the invoices or bills that you and I get every day. There can be more than a reason for collecting money, and cash flow is the pulse beat of our companies. The cash flow is more than just getting the cash flow when you send a bill. You need to show your appreciation to that individual for doing business with you, for choosing you when there's so many other choices that they had. They could have chosen other people to do business with, but whatever you did got their attention, got them to make a commitment with you. Show your appreciation for that. And if you need to collect the bill, not paying it for whatever the reason, well, there's two reasons that people don't pay a bill. They don't have the money to pay the bill, and they don't want to pay the bill. Those are the two reasons. And knowing that those are the two reasons, and you need to make a collection call to try to collect your money, the money that is owed you. Knowing that there's those two reasons, you can deal with those and not be very hard with it, but be understanding. People do have money problems of their own. We all have money problems of one sort or another. We must be appreciative of that as we are in business. Yes, when somebody commits to buying our goods, buying our services, we depend upon that for the livelihood of our business. I'm reminded of a marketing challenge, a marketing project I did. Takes me back to the late 80s, probably, the late 70s, early 80s. It was probably 1980. It's probably 1980 when I did it. I was working with a gentleman. His first name was Don. It's so long ago. I'm trying to remember what his last name was. Over 30 years ago, 32 years. Don Thorn. 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 I wonder what Don is doing these days. Don was from England. Came to the United States with some extremely interesting technology, phone technology. He invented a machine that, through automation, could carry on 6 conversations at one time. You could have 6 different lines going, talking to 6 different people with one machine. What you really did was you just programmed as many phone numbers as you wanted to do, and this machine went just down the list, took 6, got rid of 1, took a 7th, got rid of 1, took an 8th. That's how it worked. One of the things that Don actually paid me to do, challenged me to do, was bill collecting. He thought that done properly. Oh, and then one thing you did in bill collecting, I could have 6 conversations going, but in a sense I could only have 1 at a time, because you needed to make sure that the person that you were going to deliver an automated message to was indeed that person that owed money. That was one of the rules that protected, still does, that protects consumers when somebody is trying to collect money from them. Don took 2 approaches and was trying to test which one was more effective in bill collecting, so that he could sell his equipment to somebody for that particular reason. The easy one was the attorney, and the attorney got the right person on the line, or even a representative of the attorney. It didn't have to be the attorney. And the attorney's message wasn't trying to collect that debt, was, if you don't pay me, I'm going to sue you. Now, if you're not an attorney, you can't make that statement. So he wanted attorneys to take an interest in his automated equipment to use for that reason. Threaten an individual with a lawsuit. The really, really tough collection process he gave to me. And he and I together found as rough an audience, as rough an application as there possibly could be to try to collect money. And that was somebody who had asked for a city ambulance. This was in Youngstown, Ohio at the time. Someone asked for a city ambulance, and they weren't paying their bill. To make it even more well, first of all, someone who wanted an ambulance, ordered it, not paying their bill. Obviously, they don't have insurance to cover the cost of an ambulance. And if they weren't paying their bill, it was probably a struggle. They weren't paying a lot of bills, not just the bill to the city ambulance company. So I took it on as an assignment, and we did a wonderful job with it. It was a tough bill to collect. And in fact, I could get 6 conversations going at one time if I got the person who incurred the debt on the phone. But I took a very soft approach. a soft commitment. I wanted to plant a seed. I didn't want to get real tough with the individual. I wanted to say, and I don't remember exactly what the message was, but understanding that you're having a problem paying this bill, and please, can we do something to get it taken care of, and can you make a commitment to pay the bill? Now, we found that once the individual made a commitment, and they did it on the phone, and they did it in this environment that we had created, they would indeed pay their bill, or begin to pay their bill anyways, instead of going for nothing. Now, these bills that they gave me to collect were 90 days old. If somebody hadn't collected a bill or paid a bill in 90 days, what could I possibly do to get them to pay their bill? Well, as I said, we took a soft, behavioral, psychological approach to the payment of that bill. And in fact, believe it or not, I was able to collect 30% of the number of bills that were given to me. An incredible response rate for a very, very tough assignment. Now, the point I'm trying to make is it was accomplished because at that customer touch point, at that point we were touching the customer, we wanted to be empathetic with why they weren't paying their bills, not threatening them if they didn't pay their bills, just showing them that paying their bill was the right thing to do. They had asked for a service. We gave them that service in good faith. I didn't. The city ambulance company did. Gave them that service in good faith, and they deserve to be handled according, and they deserve to get the money that they were needed to pay. So, end of that story. I will share one other recent experience that I just had. Back in May, I had a very unfortunate medical occurrence happen. I actually passed out twice in 60 minutes. The first time I passed out was in a store, and while I was laying on the floor, the store management called the EMTs. What does that stand for? Emergency Medical Transport, maybe? They were a fire department in the community where I passed out. They came to my assistance and did a great job. I actually sent them away instead of going to the hospital at that time, which I should have. I didn't. I said, I know I have some medical issues. I'm very aware of what those issues are. I think I've got them under control now. They went on their way. 60 minutes later, I passed out again, and they were called. I was in a different location. They were called again, and they came. And when they came, the exact same four guys came, exact same, who had seen me the first time. And when I said to them, don't even check me out, just take me to the hospital. Fortunately, the hospital emergency unit, intensive care unit where I stayed for 3 days was literally a block away, less than a block away. I could have walked there if I had my senses about me. The reason I'm telling you this, I got a bill. It was the longest time. I just got a bill. I got a bill about 5 months after. No, it wasn't 5. About 4 months after they performed their service, I got a bill. They had contacted my insurance company. Each one of those visits from the EMT cost $932. So that was a total of $1,864 for those 2 visits. Those weren't just, I only got one hospital ride out of it for a block, less than a block. And it was a $932 hospital ride. But I was very fortunate. I don't have great insurance, medical insurance, but my insurance did cover all but $186 of the $1,864. So when I got the bill, I remembered back to the time when I was actually collecting for an ambulance ride 30 years prior to that event, more than 30 years. That was in 1980. So that was 32 years ago. So about 32 years later. But I paid my bill for $186 because I didn't want an automated phone call to me. I went ahead and I paid it. But I was glad to pay that bill. Those fellows did a great job. Customer satisfaction, customer touch points. And we need to bring some closure to this discussion. I'll finish up the Brian Tracy laws of business. I'll go through them real quickly. Purpose, organization, customer satisfaction, customer. You did that twice. Now, this one's quality, obsolescence, innovation, critical success factors. We talked about that. Law of the market. We talked about that. Not from Brian's perspective, from our perspective, my perspective. Specialization, differentiation. We definitely talked about that. That in order for you to be successful in your new business startup, you must be able to differentiate yourself from all the other things that are available. You don't necessarily know all the things that are available, but in the mind of your potential customer, that prospect, they must see something to differentiate yourself. You might even ask the question, what is it that you want, Mr. Customer, Mr. Prospect, Miss Customer, Miss Prospect, Mrs. Customer, Mrs. Prospect? What is it that you would want that differentiates what you have right now? Let them tell you what that might be. And then give them an example of how you can indeed differentiate yourself based upon what they want. Ask them. Don't wait to guess to see if you're necessarily, sometimes you're differentiating yourself just by your presentation, the things that you're talking about, the case studies that you share, the stories that you tell. You know that you differentiate yourself. But until you've done it, for as long as I've done it, you probably need as much help as you possibly can. So ask the product. You know what? When you ask them and they give an answer, guess what has happened? They've engaged themselves in you. And from that point, you've got their attention. You've got their attention. So ask them. Ask them and get it. Don't assume that you have their attention. Differentiation, segmentation, concentration, and excellence. Those are Brian's laws of business. Then further laws are the laws of leadership in Chapter 4. In Chapter 5, his laws of money. Chapter 6, his laws of selling. Chapter 7, his laws of negotiating. Chapter 8, the laws of time management. His conclusion is, start now. My conclusion to this segment is, start your business today. And there's no better place to start your business than with the social marketing, social network technology platform that we have created. Make the time to go to davidsbarter.com, look for the red box, enter those 4 fields of information. It'll take you 20 seconds, no cost to do that. The next thing that you'll want to do is create a complimentary marketing profile, no cost to do that. That's how people will find you in the community. then go on to create your very optimized, very Googleized landing page. You'll get instructions on how to do that. If you were with me yesterday at stickham.com, you heard me share the information about our Entrepreneurs Fun Game. For the next, actually 98 days right now, it's either 99 or 98 days, we are offering 10,000 entrepreneurs who want to start a business a complimentary landing page from now until the end of the year. 28 of those landing pages will be winners in a contest based upon how much cash flow you generate on your landing page. The top 3 landing pages in 8 different categories that create the most cash flow will get complimentary 2013 subscriptions to our managed optimized bandwidth, so you can continue to have your landing page generate cash flow for you. If you want more information about that, davisbarter.com/entrepreneurs. This will end this segment. Our next segment, we will discuss ten online marketing terms that you need to know now. Thank you for your time, and while you're waiting for the next 2 minutes, go register. I'll be right back.